I was bouncing, and I remember that particular night. You know, the Cowboys were hosting the Super Bowl next year. I forget who's in the Super Bowl, but I had to go pee every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes from my post. I'm standing at this party, right?
Yeah.
These massive celebrities are all walking in. I'm like not checking IDs, theirs, but I'm there checking people I don't know's IDs. And I kept having to leave to go pee.
Right.
And then the guy who hired me came up and got upset. He's like, man, I kept having to get cocktails and girls and people that aren't bouncers to watch the door for me.
Right.
Because I could not control my urination. I had to kept freaking peeing. And I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, what's going on? So I guess I had peed out all the water I could possibly pee, and I was dehydrated, and that went on the whole weekend. And when I went to look at myself in the mirror on Monday, because I don't even think I looked at myself the whole weekend, I looked so sunken in and sick, and I weighed myself, and I had lost 15 pounds.
Oh, my gosh.
So I remember, and that was probably like 175, so I was like, boom, down to 160. And that was depressing for me because I'm working out, I'm a trainer, I'm actually a nutritionist as a point two. I had gotten a little nutrition certification. And so I was like, here we go. Like, I literally have worked my butt off to get up to 175, and now I'm back down to 160 like that. Like, all right, back on the weight gainer, back on eating more foods. Like, this is ridiculous. And it didn't. I kept losing weight. So months and months went by. In fact, 9 months went by from February all the way to September, and I had lost about 50 pounds.
Jeez.
So I was down in like the 140s. I think down to 140. At that point, I wasn't even weighing myself because it was depressing to see that. And so I had lost so much weight, and I knew something was wrong, but I kept ignoring it and kept procrastinating, didn't have health insurance. I went to a clinic. At the clinic, the first thought was that I had an STD.
Right.
Or that I thought, I was like, do I have AIDS? Do I have a tapeworm?
Yeah.
I wasn't knowledgeable about diabetes, but the clinic sent me home and said, no, you don't have any STDs. You're good. And I was actually pissed that I didn't have a STD. Like, well, what is wrong with me?
Then what is the problem?
I would rather have something and you tell me so I can stop this. So during this whole time was also probably the closest that I've become with my relationship with God, because the insecurities and the depression that kicks in from health problems where you don't know what's going on,
right?
It messes with your mind a lot. And my foundation that my mom and grandmother had instilled in me about a relationship with God and being a Christian, I relied on that. So my devotional, my Bible, my prayers were probably the most consistent and I want to say strongest, but I mean, it was my biggest cry out to God in my entire life because I couldn't sleep. I would have to pee all night. So if you try to go to sleep, you lay down like, oh, I'm tired. It's time to go to bed, but I've got to get up and pee. And you get up and you lay back down. 30 minutes later, you got to go pee again.
Jeez.
Same thing all night until you've peed out and you're completely dehydrated. So then the dehydration symptoms kick in. My lips looked absolutely awful. They were completely cracked like you had been out in the sun or the snow forever. The sides of my mouth were cracked open like the Joker.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started hiding. I didn't want to go out in public. There was no social life.
And this is just the antithesis of your strength, right? Because you started to feel some confidence from, I can go to the gym, I can put in hard work, and I get results, right? And I can control the change in myself. And now along comes diabetes, and it takes away what you thought is control. Like I can make myself different, and now you've got these things happening to you that you can't control. So this brings you closer to God. Then what happens after that? How do you take the reins back and start to control your diabetes?
This is important. What happens after that? I'll absolutely tell you, but I have to say this because people who don't believe in God and atheists will say, well, what is your proof? And this was, I already had my faith and I was a believer, but my prayers, I would hear the same thing. And it would be when I was halfway, what we call it hallucinating from what's it called when you get sleep deprivation?
Yeah.
So yeah, I felt sleep deprivation for the first time. I'm sure they took you through that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of that.
Yeah. You're crazy.
I've heard that before.
Sleep deprivation, it's different in different people.
Yeah, that's true.
Some people handle it amazing. And then, I mean, for me, I felt like I handled it pretty well, but not that whether it was from sleep deprivation or call it literally God answering my prayers, he would tell me the same thing every single night in my halfway sleep that, Jason, you have strength. Just continue to have faith in me and you will be stronger than ever. I get goosebumps I think I got goosebumps right now. Like, cause it was the same thing. And of course, while you're in it, you don't know what to believe. Like, dude, but I did start to believe it. Like, you have strength. You're not strong right now, but just be patient and I will make you stronger than ever.
So where did that come from? I mean, you're hearing that from the Lord, but let's just dig into that for a second. Yeah. For you to hear that from the Lord, you've got to be in a place where you can hear. So you talked about you said your mom, right? Your mom and your grandma put that belief in you at a young age. Are you reading the Word of God in that season of your life or no?
Absolutely.
You were?
Yes. And it was a men's devotional.
Okay.
So I would quickly turn to things like strength or like depression, insecurity. So I had key words. I wasn't able to navigate through the Bible, but my men's devotional helped me navigate through the Bible during that time. And also, I started to go to church too. I started to get where I was in the club all the time and where I was a social life guy. I started to get more into, the church scene.
And would you say that was directly triggered by this struggle of diabetes?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this is the common thing that people do, and I'm embarrassed to say it, but like and I definitely gave all glory to God in the good things that happened in my 20s, but not the way that I should.
Sure.
And so I had tangled with too much of the party scene and the nightlife. And I, in a way, I felt like the whole time I'm sick, even though I'm depressed, even though I don't have any confidence, even though I had no money, I lost all my money because I lost all my clients. I couldn't get up to train people anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't sleep all night and I would just train a few clients a day. That was all the energy I had. And then I'd go home and go back to sleep.
Man.
But through that whole process, something was telling me, and then those prayers, like something big is going to happen. Just keep your faith. You are strong. Remember that. You're not strong right now. You're weak. You're physically weak, but you are strong.
And I love that.
And then boom, September 1st, 2011, 9/1/11, I was diagnosed. I went to the hospital. They pricked my finger finally, said, "Oh, you're diabetic, and like you're gonna have a hard life." They gave me all the scary stuff, sent me home, and then I actually got into
And you're thinking probably what? I'm not fat. Like, what do you mean I have diabetes?
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, I believed them. When they said that, I had denied diabetes for about the last month because a couple people told me that, and I said, whatever.
Okay.
I said, I'm not fat, like you said.
Did you have the level of education on diabetes? Because it wasn't as talked about, it wasn't as common knowledge as it can be now.
You're right. No, 2011, and that's just, it seems like it was just yesterday, right? 2011, people were not aware of diabetes, and now we're at over 400 million worldwide.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so you get diagnosed with diabetes. Take us from there.
I get diagnosed from diabetes. One of my grandmothers, the same grandmother that used to, testify and just put the word into me, said, "Hey, Jason, also I got you a free research study." Because remember, I didn't have insurance.
Yeah.
So I didn't have money or insurance. I said, "You got a free research study, and they're going to give you insulin as long as you just do these, and they're also going to pay you."
Wow.
I said, "Wow, okay. I'm there tomorrow."
Yeah.
Call the doctor, go in there. They give me insulin. He gives me a shot, tells me what I need to do. He's like, "Now you need to go down to the cafe. You need to go eat because we just gave you a shot, and come back up after you eat."
So were they feeding you too?
They gave me coupons to get free food down the cafe.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
You hit the lottery.
Yeah, this is like a big win.
Yeah, and
this is the opportunity.
Yeah, and after he gave me my shot, I'm walking down the cafe, and I feel like I just absorbed every nutrient from the last 9 months that I hadn't absorbed.
Yeah.
I felt like I went from slouching with, some type of back, issue, like, some type of it, to standing up straight, just coming alive. Like, what? I just got my energy back that I haven't had all year. And I said, and it was immediate, like this rush of excitement, like I'm going to crush the world.
Yeah.
Right. In a matter of just one, it really woke me up right there.
Oh man.
I can only imagine, but I can't imagine what that's like to live for so long without that energy. I mean, people have this experience of living without God. People have this experience. So many perspectives create this where they've lived with so little for so long. And what it gives them is gratitude for what they do have.
Yes.
So essentially you breathe again
Amen.
for the first time and you say, I'm not going to waste my breath anymore.
It's like a lot of people listening can probably understand when you, for some reason, maybe haven't eaten in a while.
Yeah.
And then you go and get a Snickers or whatever, or you go and get a hamburger.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you got, and for maybe some people haven't eaten, like you worked out really hard, you did a hike and you went on a long walk, and then somebody's got some like awesome hot dogs or something awesome back at the camp, and you're like, this tastes so good.
Yes.
That times 100.
And that's how you felt about life.
Yeah, because it wasn't just the food. It was on all cylinders. I'm getting my money back. I'm getting my health back. I had lost a girlfriend at that time. I was like, I'm going to get a girlfriend again. I'm going to get my finance.
You felt like you could do anything.
I felt like I could do anything.
So take us from there. So the research study puts life back into you. And then what? How quickly do you get to where you are? Take us from there to, like you're actually one of the first, I would say you're like one of the first 30 people I followed on Instagram in like 2013 or 2014. So, and you were, I mean, at that time you were one of the top fitness influencers on Instagram. So that's a short time. 2011, you're in that research study. You're feeling like death. You get this injection of life into you.
It was a sprint.
So that's crazy to me just to think about that, to go from there to who I first saw when you were on Instagram at the time. So
yeah, you're like 140, you said, right?
This is the most on fire I've been in my entire life. I hope and I pray to ever catch fire like this again.
Yeah.
Because it was absolutely no distractions. From women too. I remember I went abstinent for the first time since
well, hopefully that closeness
for over a year.
That closeness with God, I'm sure, stayed with you as well.
Yeah, it did. I had confidence that every move I was making was strategic to build my life for the better. And it started with a foundation. For the first time, I was consistent with my faith. I was consistent with the people around me. There was nobody distracting me. Absolutely nobody. If you weren't building me up better, then you weren't in my life.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because I wanted to build up other people better. All the clients in my 20s that I took their money and I trained them and I increased their performance. Now I was doing the exact same thing, but I was also changing their life. It was a whole different type of client that I was training. God was giving me people that were looking to do what I did. Completely flip their life around and do it through fitness.
One of the other important things I want to note here is that during that low season of your life where you were hearing from God, you believed it. Because people can hear those things and they can say, like, I just don't see it. Like, God, how could you do that? Like, doubt is definitely in everyone's equation, but you didn't let it into your equation. So having had that where you're hearing from God, like, hey, you're strong, Jason. I know this isn't your life isn't what you think it's supposed to be right now, but just wait, but just hang on. And you believed it, and then this happens to you, and that's a big part of your fire in this season.
Yeah, I want to, before you carry on, I want to take a summary of events as well, because I think I didn't know this. Like, we've talked before this. I had no idea, man. Like, I love the storyline or plot, if this was a movie, of a guy who's just sort of going along. He's had some tough times. He's had some good times. He's kind of getting to a point where he thought was good enough, and gets stripped back to literally where you have nothing. Literally, you said you lost all your money, all your income, anybody that was around you.
Lost all his size.
Yeah, lost all your size, which was the one thing you have confidence in. The only thing that got stronger when you're laying in there was your spirit. And oh my gosh, Joe, I love that because, man, we say this all the time. The strongest part, we are a spirit that has a soul and lives in a body. And the strongest part of us is the spirit because that's the part that can communicate with God. And I love that you were sitting there. And what did you do? You applied the disciplines of working out in the spiritual sense. And I just find that so amazing that you heard the same thing over and over again. And you said you had no belief. You said to us, you were like, I was 140. I still didn't have belief. And then suddenly when you're at your weakest point, what does God do? He comes in and starts instilling belief in you. Dude, that gets me pumped up. So pumped up.
And it was so obvious.
Yes.
I pray that every person gets to feel what I felt at that point in their life. And I truly believe you don't need to get sick like I did to feel it.
Yeah.
But we do have situations where we just hit rock bottom in life at something. And if you can completely give it to God and humble yourself to go down the path he wants you to. Like some of the stuff he was telling me to do, I didn't want to do. Like get rid of my best friends.
Yeah.
Like, and I know I wasn't getting rid of them. Like, I mean, distance myself from my best friends. These are my roommates.
Yeah.
The guys I've known since middle school and high school. Like, you know, these are but they were distractions to where I needed to go. We were living life different. And where he wanted me to go, he needed me to live in solitude for a little bit and to just focus on being a better person and educating myself in how to live with this new disease, right? And I couldn't do it with all these distractions from people who were still doing what I previously did, which is just living a crazy life full of distractions that you allow yourself to become desensitized to. Like, you know what I'm saying? People have these, like they'll have a certain friend that's a distraction.
Oh, for sure.
Well, then they start hanging out with that friend, and then they have another friend who becomes that friend, and then all of a sudden they've got a group of friends that are all just like doing fair weather crap. Where.
So what was so essential to you in that season was focus. You learned how to focus.
Yeah, and to call myself out, it's because I had a problem with focus my whole life.
Yeah.
Because my focus was I was easily distracted with social life. So if for the first time I needed to be lonely for a little bit from people,